Hey, Monday Movie Club. We're a little low on energy because it's very early this morning. We do this at 7 a.m. on Monday mornings. All right. Today, we're back to 1998 films. Every first Monday of the month, we're going to watch another movie celebrating their 25th anniversary this year. Today, we're watching the fifth Best Picture nominee. We've watched all five now. This is Elizabeth. I'm Frank Gaffney. Here with me is Fenster. Good morning, Jolie.
Good morning.
Annie King and her baby, what's the name? I forgot already.
Abby.
And Abby taking the role of Cringer this morning because Amy Goldman is on the road traveling from Delaware
To Queens, New York.
to the city. And Mark Wotitz Gartner, no picture for Marky, so I'm guessing. Okay. I had never seen this one. Wrong one. Wrong picture.
This is the 1998 Best Picture nominee with Joseph Fiennes in love with the non-British blonde actress playing a British role.
Yeah, but that's not the movie we watched this week.
It's the right description, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Very
hold
young
on.
Kate Blanchett plays Queen Elizabeth I, who becomes queen of a divided and dangerous England in 1558. She's seen as weak by by threats from within and abroad, and she is strongly advised to marry and bear a child. Hello.
Ooh, you okay?
Are you allergic to your dog?
Yeah.
She is strongly advised to marry and bear a child, but she says she will only be married to her country, hence the Virgin Queen sobriquet. How's that for a SAT word?
Now spell it.
Sobriquet. Sobriquet.
All right.
Sobriquet. Okay, and Kate Blanchett here, she's 29 years old, and she holds the screen brilliantly. It's only her fourth film, and I agree with Joel Finster. I know, stop the presses. It should have been her first Oscar. She breathes life into a staid historical figure, transforming her from an old picture in your Encyclopedia Britannica to a flesh and blood woman who we care about and we root for throughout the movie. And little Joey Fiennes there, yes, he did double duty this year because he was also in Shakespeare in Love. A little hard taking him seriously here, but I thought he was very good. But no, he cannot dance. No, sorry. And so did Jeffrey Rush do double duty, and also so young. He brings something sinister, but obviously crucial.
What else was Jeffrey Rush in?
Shakespeare in Love.
He was the guy with all the snaggly teeth.
I don't remember him at all. I don't remember that damn movie. I hated it.
All right. But I found his role a little underwritten. But here's an interesting side note. In Shakespeare in Love, Judi Dench played Queen Elizabeth I as well, and she was nominated as supporting actress, which is the same role Kate Blanchett plays here, but obviously a much younger version. And how can you take Sir Richard Attenborough seriously when you know he created Jurassic Park? I thought in a minute he was going to pull out some, what was it? Fossilized mosquito in amber out of his robe. He definitely was a weak link for me because his performance really lacked a kind of fire and passion you'd expect from somebody who was an advisor. I just thought, no, Queen's most faithful advisor, and he was bleh. And it was very odd seeing a pre-Doctor Who Christopher Eccleston.
A pre-Thor 2 Christopher Eccleston.
Now I see why he only did one season of Doctor Who, because he's a serious actor. And Daniel Craig, assassin.
Yeah.
How funny. And I think I remember reading that this was the movie Barbara Broccoli thought, oh.
Yep.
He could be James Bond.
Oh, wow.
I also read that Emily Watson turned down this role in favor of doing the movie Hillary and Jackie, which ended up earning her a Best Actress nomination anyway. I also read that there was quite a bit of historical inaccuracy. One historian said The pieces were shaken up like a jigsaw puzzle and scattered on the table randomly. And this is, I think, is really an age-old argument when it comes to biographical films. I say it doesn't matter. We're here to judge the film, not whether or not it's a historical document. If you want to watch it, look at the History Channel, watch a documentary, read a book about Queen Elizabeth I.
Well, the History Channel is never going to show anything about this age at this point. It's all Nazis and Bigfoot at this point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There were no Nazis in Queen Elizabeth's time?
No.
They probably were. They just called something else.
Never.
And but Elizabeth, the movie, does what it sets out to do. It provides us with a solid and entertaining 2 hours and 5 minutes. Well, the 5 minutes was probably the credits, so 2 hours. Here's one little thing. I'm not sure how I felt about the French Duke wearing dresses. Now, he seemed perfectly manly until we saw him in the dress, and then all of a sudden he became a flamer.
Yeah.
I'm like, eh. And then I read that there was no evidence that the Duke actually was a cross-dresser. So
But there was rumor about it or something.
So yeah, and I get 1998. The Crying Game was a few years before. I don't think I'm offended, but it was definitely they were trying to be progressive and give plot twists, whatever. It had to be a surprising plot twist. But the other surprising plot twist, Richard Attenborough, but he's married. I'm like, oh, good Lord. It was a bit much, that big reveal. So, and I get it. So it was a little too 1990s, I guess, for me. And the ending seemed a little bit pat and a little rushed, but there was a sequel. Granted, they made it 9 years later, but there was a sequel. So this movie was nominated for 7 Oscars, only won 1 for the makeup, which was pretty impressive. I don't know what other movies got makeup nominations.
Shakespeare in Love and Saving Private Ryan.
Well, I think maybe Saving Private Ryan had a little more makeup.
It's one of those. It's an odd category because
it's makeup and hairstyling.
Yeah, well, we think of it in certain ways. So a movie like Shakespeare in Love or Elizabeth or even Saving Private Ryan, because of the blood and such that goes on.
Right.
I'm sitting here going through the movies again. I was like, nobody would think of a movie like Pleasantville, which is shot in black and white, which needs to have makeup,
different makeup,
register properly, and all the care and artistry that went into something like that should have been nominated for that
right.
award. But,
that's a good point.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. But isn't it in the Academy like each?
Yeah.
You have to be qualified to nominate somebody.
Yes.
So only makeup artists vote for the makeup people.
Right. And they tend to it's probably a very incestuous group anyway. So they're gonna
right. All their friends get nominated.
Yeah.
It's like high school. Well, this one gets 3.25 stars out of 4 for me. It's a fine historical melodrama, has adventure, intrigue, and romance. So it kept my attention. I didn't feel like it dragged at any time. Of course, Mark is going to say it's no Braveheart.
It's no Braveheart.
Or Rob Roy even.
But
it's much better than Rob Roy.
It's about as historically accurate as Braveheart.
Yeah, that's true.
Sure.
But I definitely feel it's worth seeing, especially for Cate Blanchett, who does such a terrific job. She really does.
And what's so fun is just a few weeks ago, I watched Cate Blanchett's Oscar-nominated performance in Tar, where she's now like 53. And oh my God, she's so good. She's just so good.
Yeah. But if we're talking this year, I'm definitely rooting for Michelle Yeoh. All right, Amy Goldman, you spoke up, so it's your turn then.
I watched it and I fell asleep on and off. So then I watched the last hour, the second night, and boy, it was really good. And when I went to read the synopsis, I thought I never saw any of this happening. And I still thought that after watching the second time, I still thought in the synopsis, they made it seem like it was so obvious that the Mary Geese was the one who set out to assassinate Elizabeth. And I was like, I never saw that. And then of course, Geoffrey Rush kills her. And did I miss something?
Spoiler alert.
Was it really that obvious to everybody but me?
No, I was
No,
very
it wasn't
confused.
obvious.
I was
No.
very confused. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
it wasn't obvious.
There were definitely things that were confusing until I read it and then rewatched it, and I really, really ended up liking it. I'm also going to go 3.25 stars. I didn't take any notes. Obviously, if I did, I couldn't read them now anyway. And I don't really have anything else to say. I just really liked it, and I liked it more than I expected to.
Well, that's good.
I'm pretty sure I had seen it back in '98 because by then I was trying to at least watch all of the Oscar-nominated Best Pictures.
Which we continue to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hi, Mark G. What did you hate about it?
Only one thing, and I'll get to that in a minute. I like this one a lot more than I thought it would. It's definitely not my type of movie, but I'm actually planning on watching the sequel because I enjoyed it so much. I really became like just intrigued by the character Elizabeth, well, the person Elizabeth. I looked her up on Wiki afterwards, and I saw some of the things that they said were inaccurate about the movie and so forth. But my only nit was to pick was that I was confused several times. They didn't explain who the people were, like Christopher Eccleston or Richard Attenborough. I'm like, why is this guy so powerful? Why is he doing this? I do need to go back. This is one of those movies where I think if you watch it 2 or 3 times, you can really appreciate it. Yeah. But the first time through, we actually paused and we looked up on IMDb who the character was because they either said it quickly or with a heavy accent or whatever it was. I didn't know who they were. Then we looked them up historically and so forth. So that is my one real nit.
A little bit to do if you were sitting in a movie theater watching it.
Yeah.
Luckily, there was
in 1998.
Yeah. Whether they could have explained it more or put a caption underneath it, whatever it was, they could have done that. Having said that, what was I going to say? Christopher Eccleston, who the hell was he? Anyway, I don't think there's a role I haven't liked Geoffrey Rush in. Again, I guess apparently, except for Shakespeare in Love, where I didn't remember him. I love Vincent Cassel in this. I know you had a problem with him cross-dressing. My issue is, I guess, everything I've ever seen him in, he's always just so serious and pissy. So to see him as like a horny goofball was actually very fun. It was a completely different role than I'm used to. And I love the scene where she gets all of her enemies. It's right out of The Godfather baptism playbook.
Yeah.
And
I thought of that immediately.
Exactly.
I think totally I read in the trivia that the director totally did that as a nod to The Godfather.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And we got to see Christopher Eccleston's tushy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did appreciate a couple of boobs in there, too, which was very nice. And I actually got a message from Stewart, who is a former boss of mine. He's a British, the equivalent of a CPA and a CFO. And he apparently is also a lurker. Another one who watches our stuff. So he knew that we were going to watch it this week, and he sent me a private note saying, Elizabeth's a good film. The director is a family friend. Hold on. A family friend of my best friend. And I stayed with Shekhar when I was in Bombay in 1988. He took me up to Bollywood, which was fabulous. Even better, he trained as a CPA with Ernst & Young before deciding that rather than being an out-of-work accountant, it would be more fun to be an out-of-work actor.
Wow.
How funny.
Right?
We love that.
So there's a little personal connection.
6 degrees, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, 3.25 stars to me too. If there had been a little less confusion, it would have been 3.5.
And a little more boobs.
A little more boobs would have been 3.75.
Annie King, had you seen this before?
Nope, my first time. So throughout all this, I'm like, what did I do in history class when I was in high school? Like, what year did I learn about, early world history.
Elizabethan, yeah.
Yeah,
You don't. They kind of gloss over it.
Yeah.
Queen Elizabeth
Yeah, we don't.
here, and we're moving on.
Yeah, we don't need to learn about British history. Who cares?
Yeah.
So the one thing I did learn was about myself was that I was either very bad in social studies back in school, or that they don't teach it, anymore. So it was nice because I've learned a lot of things watching movies this year. A lot of it inaccurate, but I learned a lot. So yes, like Mark, I had to go and like read up on it. I actually didn't know the difference between Catholics and Protestants, so I had to look that up a little and learn that. So I'm learning tons and tons of stuff. Having said that, the movie was really enjoyable. I enjoyed it. It was nice, but it gives me too much homework to do. Now I'm watching the movie, trying to read with it's very confusing, but contact.
Oh,
but I did enjoy it.
Boy.
Okay, I got it back in.
Okay.
I thought they were all very good at it. It was good plots, twists and turns and stuff. But you guys said it. Some of it was like really, didn't need that. So I agree with you guys all. 3.25.
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yeah.
Joel?
Joel's gonna ruin it. He's gonna ruin it. He's not gonna do 3.25.
I'd seen the movie before. I actually minored in history in college and took a couple of classes in this era. So
are you up in arms?
No, I agree with you, Frank. It's not about the historical accuracy. It's about the filmmaking at the end of the day.
Right, and I think they said something like they really were just trying to compress all of it into 5 years, but it actually happened.
It
much longer time
much
span.
longer time frame.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I actually did watch the sequel because I hadn't seen it probably in as long as I hadn't seen the first one, and it's interesting to see how things they did in the first film they had to fill in historically differently in the second film, because like Joseph Fiennes' character, he's kind of done away with at the end of the film. Obviously not killed, but he's kind of banished from her sight. But in reality, he's still a part of things, later in her life, and he doesn't exist at that point in the sequel. So, or things like
he's not in the sequel.
He's not in the sequel. What was that?
Is Cate Blanchett on the sequel?
Yes, Cate Blanchett and Jeffrey Rush are pretty much, I think, the only two actors that carried over. I don't remember there being anybody else. They're either all dead or.
No, it was just
So Joel, then explain to me, because I honestly, throughout the first 3/4 of the movie, I kept saying like he truly loved her. He was totally on her side. Did he? So he was really against her at the end? Why would he suddenly want?
I think that's a made up plot point.
Historically speaking, it's kind of murky. There were other reasons for her to remove him from
ostracize.
Ostracize him. Like she knew he was married. It was, and he apparently was married 3 times. So, we're dealing with like the second wife, I think, is the one that kind of ticked her off a little bit and got her, a little bit against him. But Mark, one of the things I will agree is, even having studied some of this history in college, it is still confusing. You're dealing with an era where there's 3 different Marys that you have to keep track of during Elizabeth's life. Her sister.
And Joel, isn't it true too that, as opposed to today where we know every minutia about everybody, then some of it was conjecture. We didn't,
of course,
really know everything that went on.
No, because you only have, you're dealing with physical historical records that were written by people at the time, but they're not necessarily going to be privy to every shit and fart that somebody takes in. But I like the fact that this film does kind of base itself on The Godfather, you know, to an extent, where it's, you know, how she comes to power.
So she's Michael Corleone.
Exactly. She is definitely Michael Corleone. I mean, you get that whole thing at the end where, you know, she's, you know, killing everybody during the baptism.
Right.
They're having
Right.
everybody killed during
Yes.
the baptism.
Cold and heartless.
Yeah, and I think it works brilliantly. It was funny that one of my kids walked in, and he's like, "What's Doctor Who doing? What's James Bond doing?" I said, "Well, you know, movie's really just, you know, Doctor Who, James Bond, and Spock's father team up to kill Hela." So
there you go.
but it's,
and then we come all right around to the MCU.
Yes, exactly. That's all it works is. It's well cast, it's well written, it's well I mean, there's really nothing wrong about the film, but at the same time, it's definitely not a 4-star film. I still think it would have made a better Best Picture winner than Shakespeare in Love did. But you know, I say that award really belonged to Saving Private Ryan at this point.
And if we go around the room and voted, I think every one of us would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Saving Private Ryan.
But Cate Blanchett did deserve this Oscar over Gwyneth Paltrow by a long shot, and you know, I don't even remember the other 3 performances. So
it was like, oh yeah, when I looked at it, I don't think I'd seen any of them.
Yeah, I know there's a Meryl Streep in there, but that's kind of irrelevant. You know?
It was the One True Thing where she had the cancer.
Right.
But yeah, the other 2 were Hillary and Jackie.
Right.
And a Spanish actress for Central Station.
Yeah.
Fernanda something or other.
Nothing for American History X? I thought that was up for awards.
Not for a woman, no.
Oh, true.
That got most grotesque and painful, you know, death scene.
And Edward Norton was nominated, sure. But you know, Joel, I was just thinking that the records of history, like you said, were mostly historical documents. So it's kind of like Facebook. People just write the nice things on Facebook, and you don't know what's really the gross underbelly of what's actually going on.
Yes and no. You do have. There are diaries and such of people who lived at the time. There's Queen Elizabeth was a, you know, raving lunatic, you know, or something like that. So,
right. But those are the people who were pissed off at her.
Of course, as they should have been.
Sure. But I loved seeing Cate Blanchett's transformation when they cut all her hair off and they put the white makeup on. I'm like, this is brilliant. Yeah. It really is.
The film is really well. I mean, from the opening of burning the heretics to, you know, to the very end where, you know, she's in that whole Virgin Queen getup. It's just brilliantly shot and put together. And I am going to agree with everybody. It is a 3.25 movie. The sequel is about a 3. It's a
not quite as compelling. Wow.
It's not quite as compelling. There aren't as many interesting characters beyond Elizabeth and Walsingham.
Geoffrey Rush.
Yeah, sorry, Geoffrey Rush. They had because they killed off Daniel Craig's character. They had to invent somebody to fill that role because that real life person actually, the plot that he dealt with didn't come till later on in her life.
Right.
You know, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner with things like that. So
that was another interesting shot in the movie because his hair was like standing up straight. I'm like, what the hell? Why is his hair up straight?
Yeah.
And then it flipped around. I was like,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's you know, the sequel's worth watching. I don't know that it's worth watching, you know, multiple times, but it was enjoyable. So
Frank, when you said something about how much you enjoyed her transformation, you meant, you know, the hair and the makeup, but I thought you were going to say, and I agree with her transformation just from becoming a 25-year-old girl to such a powerful, revered queen.
Yeah.
My God.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's basically why she should have won the Oscar.
Yeah.
There's a definite arc there. She definitely gives a beautiful performance. All right. Anything else? Are we done? Okay. I didn't mention my crown. Appropriate, right? All right, Elizabeth is not on your usual subscription streaming services. You can rent it from Prime or Vudu for $3.99 or get it from the library. As I always say, which I do all the time. See, look, I rented movies for my next upcoming movies right there. All right, so next week we get to see Oscar nominee Michelle Yeoh in her breakthrough American film, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon from 2000. And again, it's
whoa, 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 whoa! Why would that be her breakthrough American film? She was a Bond girl before that.
Oh well, yeah. That.
Before that, I thought it was
97. Tomorrow Never Dies is 97.
Yeah, but what do you think? I'm going to go with Frank on this one.
It's not her first American film, but it was her breakthrough.
I would still argue that anyway, but.
Okay, you can rent this movie is also not on the streaming, so you can rent it for $2.99 from Prime or Vudu or what?
Come over Mark's house. I have the DVD
or iTunes or any other service that rents movies.
No, I don't approve. I don't approve of those.
It's back in the movie theater.
Yes, that's why we moved it to this week.
Oh, right,
and it's back in movie theaters in some places, not here in Florida. But Amy has it across the street. She's gonna go and see it this week. That would be really fun. I do remember seeing it on the big screen the first time, and it is definitely a big screen kind of movie.
That's
all right. I'm Frank Gaffney. Amy, you want to sing us out?
And also with you?
On the road again. Just can't wait to be on the road again. What are you looking for? The exit?
I was trying to get over.
Oh, I can't get over you. Forget it. All right, watch a movie.
And also with you.